What today in 2019 bikini at NPC and IFBB level? What are they looking for?
Okay. And we did go over some of the questions, so I'm going to answer like a whole bunch of them right together.
Yeah,
okay.
Might as well.
First of all, NPC, IFBB, no different.
Okay.
1 year an amateur, 2 year a pro. What we're looking for, the criteria is exactly the same.
Okay.
It's just that as you go up the ranks, like you start like at your regional show and then you do a national show, the quality gets better because the athletes are training, so their development gets better, a little bit better, you know what I mean? So that obviously development at a pro level is going to be a little bit better because that's why those girls obtain their IFBB pro card. Yeah. But the criteria, the ideal of what we're looking for is always the same. With bikini, you have to have a little bit of overall muscle development. Mm-hmm. I think sometimes athletes right now think that as long as they have really good glute development and a little bit of delts, like that's all we're looking for.
Sure.
And it's not in bikini. We're looking for overall symmetry and shape. We're looking for the same thing in every division. We're looking for muscularity, we're looking for symmetry, and we're looking for presentation. It just varies the amount.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so obviously bikini's the least amount of overall muscular development. But you still want to train your body for that symmetry and shape. You don't want to just concentrate on a body part like your glutes or your delts, because while it might serve you in the amateur level, you know what I mean, because maybe the quality isn't quite there, so you end up getting your pro card. But when you step on that pro stage, now you're going to step on with girls that their overall physique is very symmetrical. You know what I mean? They have that little bit of development. So you do want a little bit of overall muscular development, and you want to be conditioned enough that we can see the development underneath, but you don't want to be separated or striated. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes, not so much with athletes that are coming from a sports background, because we're seeing a lot more of that, girls that have been, soccer players all their life, or track and field players, and then they're getting out of college, and it's like, okay, now that competitive, aspect of their life, there's nowhere to go.
Yeah.
So then they fall in, into the bodybuilding, into the NPC. So, but a lot of the girls don't. They're just now, they're coming in because they want to make themselves look better, or they see somebody at the gym, and so now they're starting from scratch with the development. Yeah. And it takes time, and I think lots of times, to get ready for a show, and you only have a little bit of muscle, well, you have to get really lean to show me any of that muscle.
To make it show, yeah.
Yes. And that's not what especially not what we want to promote in the NPC, is getting super conditioned.
Right.
So I always tell athletes, especially when you're starting out, give yourself a little bit of leeway. If you come into the shows a little bit soft, you might not place exactly where you want to place, but it's a growth thing. It's not going to happen overnight. Yeah, because if you really diet it down and get really lean, you're going to lose some of that hard muscle that you work to put on. Yes, and if you talk, I think lots of times we don't know athletes, and even myself sometimes, you don't notice athletes because for me, I see so many, but also too because if they're not winning all the shows, athletes aren't going to follow them on social media. And so I think when it gets to people like Angelica and Sid, I think people think like, oh, they just stepped on a pro stage or stepped on a national stage, won their pro card, and now they're Miss Olympia. Yeah. And if you look at them, I mean, even talking to Angelica, I judged her 4 times at the Olympia before she ever won the Olympia. She was in the 16th and under group. She said, but I think people think it just happens, and they don't realize that no, this is years down the road. It's very small, for women, it's very small changes. Yeah. Because the whole point of the NPC is for women to be able to train, to do resistance training, to put that little bit of muscle on, because it will make them healthy longer in their life. Yeah. And we want you to keep coming. Yeah, we want you to keep coming and competing. So I don't want you to kill yourself and get discouraged and then never come back to the sport again. Right. You know what I mean? Absolutely. And sometimes it's hard for, because in our society it just seems like, we want everything yesterday. Yeah. So we don't I was going to say the social media world tends to project that in a way, you know. Yes. But so getting back to what we're looking for, you want overall development, you want to try to keep it in balance, okay? And you want to be lean enough, but you don't want separation in bikini, you don't want striations in bikini. Yeah. So you want to, and it's hard sometimes for women because we tend to be able to build muscle in our lower bodies, a little bit better or easier than we can in our upper body. So like I said, so when you're trying to tighten up the lower body, this is where you end up getting too lean and striated. Right, upper body, yeah. And if you're doing that, it just tells you that your body's not balanced enough yet, and it just takes a little bit more time. Yeah. So when we're talking about balance, we're talking about upper to lower body symmetry, right? Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.